You know, my mom was.
Hot off the press, 446.
You want to start?
Anytime you are, I'm ready.
Okay, let's call the Ohio Township Board meeting together at February 27th, 2026 at 6:30.
27, isn't
Mm-hmm.
it? Okay.
February 27th, 2026.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe I heard you wrong.
Maybe I said it wrong. Okay, so I guess we should do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep.
How about you, Tommy?
Okay. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everybody have time to look over the minutes?
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions,
No.
concerns, discussion?
Nope.
Okay, and you have a motion to approve the minutes?
I will move we approve the minutes as
Okay,
written.
do you have a second?
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3 ayes. You and
Yep.
Okay. I think the only thing we're discussing tonight is the annual financial report.
So I've got you guys a copy of all those. This is the 2025 annual report. What I'd like to do is just go over it page by page, and if you guys have questions, please ask, and I'll answer, and we can kind of go from there. So on what would be the second page, this basically breaks down all of our cash and investment from every fund. Shows our starting balance in January 1 of 2025 with the $9,895,100.29, and our ending balance at the end of 25 of $8,046,684.54. In between all of those, it just gives you what each of the individual funds are. So again, each fund money can go in that sideways in that fund, but we can't move money up and down between the funds. So we can move money in and out of the rainy day fund, but that is the only one. Grants and donations would be the other one. So the next page basically breaks down how the property taxes, or the taxes rather, are accumulated for each fund. So the first one in the general fund, it breaks down the property tax, the financial institution tax, the vehicle excise tax, and the commercial vehicle excise tax. Then basically it goes down, gives you the general, just one for point of note on there about the refunds and reimbursements in the general being very high, that $340,000. The big chunk of that figure was when we had a batch of checks that cleared Old National Bank one day, and Old National had a software issue, and they were worried for some cybersecurity, so they returned the entire batch of checks and credited that money into our account, and then we had to turn around and rewrite all of those checks, and one of them happened to be the Danco Construction. It was a pretty big check, so normally those refunds and reimbursements wouldn't be that high, and that one, that caught my eye when we were doing stuff, and I just wanted to share that with you. So Park and Recreation Fund, Assistance Fund, again, it just kind of breaks down. That's really the 3 to 4 sources of revenue that we get between general property tax and the CVIT, the FIT, and the excise tax. So moving on down, again, cumulative fund, the Fire Auxiliary Fund, it's a new one that started this year. I don't know if you noticed that at the beginning had a zero balance. Our volunteer fire auxiliary ladies had an account where they use it for like supplies and stuff for the firefighters on scenes. And so they asked if we would take over that account, and then when they need drinks and rehab supplies or whatever that they do, or if they hold a fundraiser, then that money is for them. And so it's basically it's an unappropriated fund. So it's not something that hits our financial report, or we have to appropriate money out of that. So the fire equipment debt, that's basically paying the interest on the fire trucks. The payroll withholding fund, it's a clearing fund for money going in and out for withholdings out of employees' accounts, insurance, things like that. Just kind of every fund is basically the same thing. The only difference, the local income tax fund, that is just a one line item, and that's money that we get from the Warwick County for the public safety lit for firefighting. Then we go back into disbursements by fund on page 6. This just breaks down each fund by the individual categories between personal services, supplies, other services and charges, capital outlay, and it just kind of breaks down into each of the subcategories that are on there. You'll see that more detailed here a little bit later. So again, the general fund, park and recreation is on that, page 7. Continuation of park and rec, township assistance, and the fire and EMS fund. That moves on to page 8. The cumulative fund, that's the basically our fire equipment fund. The auxiliary that we just talked about on that.
What does it say land?
It's one of those gateway things. It's actually all capital, but they have, and that's probably another one of those things that squeaked by there. We could go in and still correct that, but it's all capital outlay is what that is. So,
Okay.
The fire equipment debt, again, there's the principal and interest that we made on that note payment for the trucks. Grants and donations. Again, that's an in and out account where people will make a donation or a grant. They might be specific about it or they might not be. Talked about the payroll withholding again. We have a park and recreation debt, recreation construction, and then just a regular park and recreation account. The debt is basically, that's what our bond payment is, and the $1,877,980. We're in year 3 of the 5, so we're over the halfway mark on that. The construction just breaks out all of the things that went into monies that were spent for the construction during last year. Again, there's the local income tax fund. When you get to page 10, then this starts to break out in detail in each of the funds. So again, we start back with the township general fund. This goes into personal services. One item to note on there, I was talking to Tom earlier about this, but the items listed by employees, that is the net pay that's on there. That's not the gross pay. The gross pay, how it looked it is under the personal services and charges. That's basically all of the payroll taxes that either the employee gives or the township's matching portion. That all falls under there. So again, all of this pertains to the general fund. This is just a detailed breakdown of the summary that we were looking at on the previous pages. So it goes into supplies, services and charges. Again, I had spoken to you about this before, but any of these items that are here, we've got the source document as a receipt on file for everything that we pay out. We will not issue a payment unless we have a good, solid invoice for
Can
what it
I
was
ask a
for.
question?
Yes, please.
What is D&L Enterprise? What do they do?
That they are a leasing company that we rent our phone system from for all of the fire stations in both buildings in the township side.
And then the Gannett, Indiana, Kentucky. Local.
That was a publication that we had to do in the newspaper.
Surprised you did it for $14.
I know. I wish Warwick Publishing was that
Cheapest
good.
thing on there.
Yeah.
What about Newso LLC?
That is the company that provides our phone lines. So we have VoIP phone lines, and they do that. So that is a good thing to point out. Is so like we get a Newso bill, but you'll see it under the township general fund, and then you're also going to see it under the fire fund because we break out that same way with the D&L.
Yeah.
So depending on what the invoice is for, we code it appropriately. So
Okay.
you may see the multiple vendors across multiple funds,
Right.
and it's just how they were coded. So
Okay.
that answer everything on page 11 for you. Okay.
Here's the Princeton Daily Clarion for $162.76.
And that's actually the Warwick paper.
Mhm.
It's got the Princeton Daily Clarion. They're all owned by the same company.
Yeah.
So
Didn't know that.
actually, Paxton Media is the one that owns all of them. Owensboro, they own pretty much all of the papers in southern Indiana, western Kentucky, and southern Illinois. That page 12 kind of gets into the other services and charges. Then the payroll withholding. We get into park and recreation. That is just the actual park and rec fund, not anything to do with construction or debt. So things that would pertain currently to the event center, or things that were outside in the park that might be under construction with utilities and whatnot. And then this just again on page 13 breaks down more of
There's your vector bill,
Uh,
at least part of it.
yeah, which page are you on?
20.
I'm 13 at the bottom,
Oh,
It's
yes.
a big number.
26 grand.
Yeah, well, actually what that was is we had to pay
To pull power out
CenterPoint
there.
to put the gas service in.
Mhm.
Now, we ended up getting the power for free, but the gas, in order to, 26,225, a lot of money, but it was gonna be a lot more if we were gonna have to personally
I
run it
wish I had
ourselves.
Yeah,
got
so
some
that
money.
utility extension, they're always going to charge
Right.
you by the inch.
So,
So that's just to put the line in.
that was just for natural gas.
Now, there's
to
one
the
up at
park.
the top, Center Point Energy, 7,300. That's probably the more like the utilities bill.
Right, and that was actually some of the utilities out of here because I split up for this building
Yeah,
with
that's
fire.
not the whole utility bill.
You know,
I'm
the
sure.
thing that was scary, you know, I know I've talked to you guys about my utility bill, but like the empty building there, we've had $650 a month bills and there's nothing on.
Yeah.
Like 1 month, the gas wasn't even turned on. I mean, they had
Oh,
like, they had
Of the
a
new building?
they were heating the building with electric heaters from a portable generator that Danco set outside. It wasn't even on our dime. The only thing that was plugged in was like 4 little space heaters in the individual bathrooms. And that was it. So it's kind of scary, like what on a big
Those are not
three-phase
very
building.
efficient though.
Well, those aren't, but $650 for, you know, and they weren't even all the whole time. So again,
Don't want those pipes to freeze.
well, we didn't even have the water just got turned on today.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but again, their demand charges are pretty high. So hopefully we've budgeted enough money for the future for it. So so at the end of top of 14, it ends park and rec. Just the one thing on the disbursement there, that Christian Scientist thing, that was where we gave them a $300 deposit back because they only paid deposit on the event center by check.
Oh, I was wondering
So,
about that.
Oh,
we did that, but you know, our policy now has been for that. We want that in cash to hold on to because we don't want somebody to take that check and cancel it or write us a bad check for a deposit and we get left holding the bag. So
Plus a bank fee.
plus a bank fee. So it makes it easier. We've talked to other areas that do that too. So next page or next mid part of the page, we get into township assistance. So again, it just breaks down everything between the things that are there. I think one of you had asked me a question about one of the names on there. Those are basically all landlords or property management companies for people that we might assist with a rent on. Or you know, the utilities, you'll see like, you know, Newburgh Utility Office, you know, Chandler, Centerpoint. Those would be anything else that I do, funeral homes for burials or cremations that we might have.
when I was in here the other day, Chad educated me on the strict guidelines we've got for township assistance.
You like
Yeah,
them?
yeah.
Yeah.
I asked if we had any. Oh, yeah, we got them. You guys look at them every year.
Yeah.
You were out of town for that meeting we had in January, but yeah, that's where we will bring those guidelines in. And so
Is there still just one cremation vendor around here? And I know there was one guy over in Evansville that did that for a while.
there's Evansville Crematory, but any funeral home will do a cremation, but it's they send them to there. I think Alexander has one, and I believe Kaler's has one by like a different name. I just found out about it this week when I was working with the coroner on an indigent death. That we've got 2 people in the last month that have come from Illinois and have died at Gateway and have no family, no money, and the state of Illinois will not do anything with them, even though they're a resident of Illinois. So
That's wrong.
again, they don't quite make our guideline of 30 days residency, but I can't let a dead body just
No.
sit there and be unclaimed. It's very disrespectful, and so we've taken that over. But we're trying to work with the coroner's office. Realizes that they need some funding for things like this that are no fault of anybody's. But
And there's some big numbers on this page 16.
okay,
I know lots of times these things have to do with education, uniform, whatever. But some of these are pretty big, like the 10,469 near the top of Mahoney.
okay, so the firefighters, that goes back to how their salaries are broken up between the lit fund and
Okay.
so you'll see another entry for him on the lit fund side because the firefighter salaries come out of two different buckets or two different funds. So
Okay. And then is that pretty much the same with the next one?
yes,
What page are you
And
on?
all of
16.
those are firefighters going down the
The big
list there.
numbers.
But yes,
Like double, like 12 or
Yes.
14.
yeah.
And then there was one down at the Tate also,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And then some of these others are volunteers that are not so much, but they will pick up a stipend shift. So that's what those other ones are under personal services. Again, all that rolls into up to 17. Those are all individuals.
You're not used to seeing those big numbers in there.
I know it's changed a lot over the
Yeah.
years. So
IMPRS?
that's the Indiana Public Retirement System. So that's the police and fire perf. After personal services, we get into supplies. Again, we're still in the fire category. So fire supplies roll on to page 18. Nothing as big on this page, Debbie, as the others, but if anything stands out. You'll notice too, like if you see like where it says non-payroll beside a person, so we have a different category for like if we do a refund or a reimbursement or a firefighter pays for something, we do it. It's called non-payroll, so that way it doesn't hit their W-2.
So what's Amazon Capital Service?
That's basically we have an Amazon account, and that's what we pay it to. So we have
Like a
a
credit
basically
card?
it's a charge account. When we order something on Amazon, then they'll send us an invoice and we pay for it. So
And Lexipol
Lexipol is a company that does our training software for the fire department.
training software.
Yeah, and also our personnel and policies and things like that are all done through Lexipol.
Is that Lawn Masters? Is that probably for Paradise?
Yes, the Paradise Station, or again, we kind of split some things here for the yards because of the fire side and this side. So,
Okay.
And we got a vole issue last year, and we got it again this year. So
What is MES service?
Those guys know how to do it.
Yeah.
Got rid of them in my house.
MES is Municipal Emergency Supply. They're a company out of Indianapolis that does different things with fire gear, equipment, things like that.
There's so much of that stuff to keep up with.
There is a lot, yeah. Lot of vendors and mostly all in fire. So, page 19 again, we're still in supplies for fire.
No. Safe Haven baby boxes. Was that like a liner or something?
So we part of the agreement that we had with Right to Life by putting the box in, Safe Haven does a $200 a year. It's like an inspection. So they basically come out and certify the box that it's still in good shape. So our part of the deal was we would take care of that and the alarm for the baby box. And then that way Right to Life was gracious enough to donate the box. So
Yeah, I thought that was really nice.
Have we ever had?
no, we haven't. I got nervous last week. I got a call from the alarm company, and they said they had a door open and an object present, and I knew the entire fire department was gone on a call, and I thought, uh-oh. So I
Mhm.
sped up a little bit to get back, and the battalion chief had come back from the run. I didn't know it, and he was testing the box. So
Okay.
they test it weekly to make sure, but that they have the whole procedure go through where it lets the alarm company call so that we know that all the
That's
different
good.
things are there. Because if again, all out on a call, then dispatch would send.
Nobody missed it
Yeah.
when you're out of
And
the.
they didn't put it over the radio because they called dispatch direct and said, "Hey, I'm here. You don't have to put the call out for us." Because normally dispatch will generate a run even during testing for that. So
Those tents.
that company makes like the helmet shields for
Oh.
fire
On the
helmets. Yeah,
Elon Financial Services.
that's the company that basically our credit card is through. So
Oh,
and
so
we
these
had-
are all the credit card
Yeah,
transactions.
so Elon Financial hits there, but all of that had to do with anything in Elon that supplies were coded to through fire. So you might see them again under services and charges.
Okay.
Possibly, I don't. But
So who keeps track of all this stuff? Is that Marianne? Is that part of what she is?
she is, I'm, so part of our internal controls process is she's responsible for opening the mail. I get all of the invoices, I process for payment, and then when I write the checks, then I go back to Marianne and she cross-checks all my work to make sure that every invoice and every check matches up and that we have all the documentation. Then she mails them and then she files all of the
Okay.
things. So that's
Word
part of
down.
our cross-checking that we have to, it's called an internal controls policy that we've got. So I'm on page 20. I don't know where you all are
Yeah,
at.
I'm on 20.
Ask away with whatever you might have.
Wabash Valley Service Company.
That's where we get our fuel from.
Fuel.
I was
Oh,
running-
they come and fill up a big tank out back.
And at Paradise Station too.
How about the Harold Fish Inc. at the top?
That's a mechanical contractor. They were the ones that did the VAC work here on this building, so they've had service work for us.
Eye Candy Design.
That is a company out of Boonville that does shirt work for us, for our cadets.
Oh. Okay. TNL Enterprise.
That's the phone system one that Debbie had asked a question
Oh, that's
about
right. You
earlier.
mentioned
So
it once.
it gets split between different funds. So
All right.
so I'm on page 21. That wraps up the supplies, and then we start into services and charges. Still into the fire fund.
The Queen Emergency Group.
That is the company that basically they're the dealer for the Pierce fire trucks that we own. So they do our annual service on all of the Pierce trucks. They also do equipment.
Do
So
they come here to do that or you have to?
they come on site, yeah. They've been hoping to get a shop in this area, but right now it comes out of Whitestown. So generally when we're going to do routine or preventive, our annual service, we try and get all of them done. And we also try and coordinate with, other departments, but that we can get them all done around the same time. So we just pay for one travel charge. So.
Now, is this McGowan Insurance the one?
McGowan used to be Schulteis. They've changed. They've
On
changed.
Lime
their
Rock.
name.
On the
So-
side of the building.
Yeah. What kind of insurance is that?
That can be a vehicle, building, workers' comp.
You got
basically.
Schulteis on there too, so they must have transitioned last
Yeah,
year.
well, it was actually a year ago, and then this end of this last year, they've started going to just the McGowan name.
Okay.
So
Do we bid that insurance? service?
we do with them. They actually bid it with other carriers. The thing we are with is a carrier called Bliss McKnight, and their sweet spot is municipals.
Okay,
And so we have looked at trying to do with other carriers, but nobody can ever compare to Bliss McKnight. So it's just basically the agency that you're with. So it's not, in the insurance world, it's not like replacing a roof where you can get 3 bids and try and get, you literally, if it's carrier specific. And so the agency doesn't necessarily have as much control as the carrier does. So, but, and we've got, very good coverage with them. And we actually, on our big trucks, we do what's called agreed value, which means if we bought the truck for $1.2 million, we agree that if it gets totaled at 15 years, they'll pay us 1.2. There's no depreciation on it. But unfortunately, in the fire truck world right now, a 15-year-old truck that you paid 1.2 for, you're probably going to pay 2.4. Now
No, it's
with-
the cost of all used vehicles are going up anyway.
Well, and really in the public safety world, fire trucks have just gone stupid. And
What's their justification for that?
well, early on it was the supply chain issue post COVID, but now what really, okay, this is Chad Bennett's opinion. Post COVID, when we had all this CARES Act and ARPA money out, you had all these municipalities across the United States that had this cash that they were looking to spend, and it all went into public safety. So the
More
fire
demand
truck,
than supply.
the supply and demand. So fire trucks, like when we ordered our Pierce trucks, they had an 18-month build
That
time,
makes some sense.
and now it's 4 to 5 years for
I
a fire
couldn't
truck.
believe that. Who
And
said
and
that?
again, I've asked our fire rep. I'm like, okay, so tell me how you can give me a price for a truck 4 years from now when you don't know what your material cost is.
They price it high enough.
And
that
so
it
what they're
doesn't
doing is they just keep adding percentage for every month that their build time is out on. And a scary example, when we got in at the beginning, we had those trucks ordered right after, right around COVID, I think. I can't remember. Time gets away from me. But in that first 12-month period, our trucks went up 20.8% in a 1 year
Wow.
period. And on $2 million of trucks, that was
Oh, yeah.
almost
crazy.
Now,
$400,000.
when you place the order, does it lock the price in, or do you have to pay it whenever it gets?
So what
Done.
we did, Debbie will remember this, was just something that I was a little leery about, but I got sold on it and double checked it all with the State Board of Accounts and with our attorneys. But we actually did a prepayment, and then we got a performance bond on them.
Okay.
So basically, we were able to prepay, get a 5% discount for prepaying, and then we got a performance bond, which guaranteed that if the company went out of business, we'd get paid our money back. And so,
How long does it take to build a truck?
well, at that time it was 18 months.
Yeah.
So
Now
now
it's 4 or 5 years,
it's
you
4 or
say.
5 years. So what's
I couldn't
happening?
believe that when he told me
What's
that this year.
happening is that if you don't prepay for your truck, you're subject to price increases along
Yep.
the way.
Yep.
The city of Evansville, city of Henderson, all had this happen to them on new trucks.
Mm.
They weren't paying until the end, and so the manufacturers came back and said, "Oh, hey, guess what? If you want your truck," they did that to Ascension. Ascension had a contract for an ambulance, and they're like, "Well, here's the new price. If you want your ambulance on schedule, here it is. If not, you get thrown to the back of the pile." And I think their attorneys got involved, and they ended up having to pay more in order to keep it on time. So it's scary, but again, I think it all goes back to supply and demand. It's a market that I feel like will have to correct itself because it can't sustain where it's at.
No. Has there been like any significant improvements or changes in technology that are adding to that cost? Doesn't sound
We
like-
actually kind of, I don't want to say took a step back in technology, but I like on the fire trucks that we purchased in 2005, they had what's called a multiplex system, which is like digital communication. And we kind of went back to an analog system because there's less points of failure. You're not relying on one device that's kind of like the main brains, and you still got them on what we've got. Don't get me wrong, but there's always going to
Fancy
be a point.
means, means break,
More
potential for
problems.
breaks.
You know,
Yeah, I like old stuff. It's easier to
your
work
wife
out.
might like shiatsu massaging in your vehicle seats, but there's a lot of computers and chips that control that to make it go out, and you don't want that
Like some heat
in a fire truck because when you need that's like when I grew up firefighting, you might have an electric pump, but you also had a manual
Yeah.
override that you could do it if your pump wouldn't go into gear. They don't have that now.
I think
so.
the first year I was in there, we bought that ladder truck
Mhm.
when we still on Epler.
Mhm.
Didn't we also buy a used truck for like 800 something thousand?
That was the ladder truck that we bought that was used.
That was used.
That's the one that's at Chandler Fire right now.
How tall does that go?
That was 137 foot.
What's the biggest one we have now?
The 137, that's the biggest one. And then
Oh.
the Pierce Ascendant that we have is a 107 foot ladder.
So is there need for something more than the other one, 137 or whatever?
They don't make them any bigger than that, really. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that, but no. No.
Do these trucks have, cameras? You have a camera on the front of the truck to
They,
keep track?
they have backup cameras, but not in the front.
Not in the front.
No.
I just have one put in my van.
Oh, did you?
I mean, you don't need it or you would have it.
It's an option on them when you're building them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the next time we have the opportunity, it might you guys might one of you take an interest in it, but it's a very detailed process, and you go through a lot of things, and then you actually go to the factory and you do pre-built things, or you can tour to see if a specific manufacturer has something new that you
Where are they
like.
building at? Here, local, Midwest?
There's Pierce is out of Appleton, Wisconsin, and another city in Wisconsin. E1 is out of Ocala, Florida. Pierce actually
Yeah, I've
also
driven by that
has a Bradenton,
75.
Florida plant.
Many times.
There's a plant in Louisiana.
Sounds like a good business to
I
be
think
in.
there's one in New York. They're nothing out west is striking in my head, but they're massive operations. It's
Yeah.
impressive, and they don't flow off a line like a Grand Highlander in Princeton does. I mean, they're
Oh, I know.
very, very.
Takes a while to build.
Oh yeah.
Who is CNS Inc.?
That's the Circle S gas station, the Marathon. So we have a charge account for Chandler Fire for fuel that we purchase through the township through them. But for township owned trucks that are in Chandler.
May I ask what, I lost it.
What page you on?
Cardinal Sign Service.
That's a company here in Newburgh that does like our vehicle graphics
Okay.
on the trucks that we've gotten or redone lettering.
Those, I guess, is that vinyl that's applied to that, or they? Okay.
Yeah, it's a reflective vinyl.
Deaconess Comp Center, 10 grand.
So that is for firefighter physicals that we.
Oh,
had to
yeah,
have-
yeah, you answered that question part of the
Well,
other day.
but it's a different one. Those were for like firefighters that had to have perf physicals. So like when you get before we can hire you on, you have to have a specific physical for Indiana perf, and Deaconess Comp Center can do them, and it's a whole big evaluation, and then that physical has to be sent to Indianapolis and it has to be reviewed for a board, and before we can offer employment, the health exam board has to determine that that person is physically fit. So
Okay.
whenever we make an offer for employment, it's contingent on passing of a per physical. So, and then they have also done some other firefighter ones, like volunteer along the way too. So, I'm on page 26. I'm not sure what.
Yep, that's where I'm at
Okay.
now.
This is the most detailed one because of the most
There's
expenses.
a center point, go 38 million.
38,000.
What page you on?
It's 26.
Middle
38.
page.
So that
26.
was
38,000.
Yeah,
oh yes, okay, so that's the Paradise Station and then the Liberty Station too. And all of the tornado sirens that are peppered through the township. I have to pay a bill on each one of those individual meters for all the storm sirens.
So when they go off at 1 o'clock in the morning, you get billed for it, I guess.
Well, no, it's I've questioned CenterPoint before about like they all get activated together. So how
Yeah.
can this one have more usage than this one when they all go off together? But you know,
Do we have more of them here than some of us?
no. Well,
I mean, like
If they're
10 to 2.
located inside a municipality, that municipality has to pay the bill. If they're located outside of a municipality, then the township pays the bill. So I don't know that more is the right word, although EMA is trying to add some more, so. And one in the backyard of the park, so.
And that last one, Dayville,
Which page are you on? I'm sorry.
26 still,
Oh,
at the
okay.
bottom.
Dayville is a company out of Boonville that, or I'm sorry, Yankeetown, that they do fire truck maintenance on our emergency equipment.
Trucks.
So what do you got? One of the guys or gals is assigned the responsibility for keeping track of maintenance requirements.
Yeah, we actually have our volunteer battalion chief, Roy Monks, he's our vehicle maintenance person. So
He keeps track of all
he
that.
keeps track of all that and
That's
makes
good for
sure
him.
that if there's whenever it's time for a vehicle to go in for scheduled maintenance. And then Roy also does a lot of maintenance on his own and saves
Good for
us
him.
probably tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, just in his knowledge that he's got to be able to do. And I don't want to say that any repair is a minor repair, but he's not breaking an engine apart or
Yeah.
He was lighting up that truck that day we were over there at Paradise.
Yeah.
Working on the lights.
yeah. So a great asset to have on our team.
What's his name again?
Roy Monks, Monks.
Okay.
You'll see it in here.
Yeah, he was back there on the. So then we get into capital outlay. This is under the.
Are you on 27 or?
Yeah, I'm on 20. Bottom of 27 starts the fire cumulative fund.
Okay.
So basically, anything that's in there that was paid for is a capital asset or is a capital purchase. Now, I will tell you, like, there's a Danco construction there for $109,000. That was for the roof replacement on the disaster storage building. Part, same thing with generator maintenance. So we got
Where is this at?
on page 28.
Oh, okay, I was still on 27.
So when we got that insurance reimbursement check, I put it into the fire cumulative fund and then turned around and paid it out.
So you had to totally replace that roof?
Yeah, the tornado lifted the roof on the disaster building.
Yeah, it was in that area, wasn't it? For
Yeah.
sure.
It literally came right over the top of the station and it had started to lift. I mean,
It was
we
the
were very
station or
lucky,
the other building behind?
but both. But it was the other building behind it is the roof that lifted, but it came over all of our buildings. I mean, if you look at the damage that happened over in Gorley Place,
It was
compared to what
terrible.
was there. I mean, if the tornado had been down on the ground like there, I think we would have been in a lot more than
I mean, you could have
It
lost
was-
everything.
we
at that
absolutely could have, yes. And again, that's what's important about diversity. If that had been our only building, we'd have been
Right.
toast. So, that's, and then there might be gear, equipment, things like that happen in there. There was things for the training ground, stuff like that.
You bought
So,
something off Gov Deals?
yes, so that was did a vehicle. We've got they're a bid site. We actually even did we did a sale of one of our surplus trucks, but we did that garage. I had to think it wasn't Gov Deals, but it's like them, but it's basically a bidding site for public equipment.
Okay.
You bought a horse trailer?
Yeah, so
Well, that was the name of the company, but yeah, it was one of the box trailers that we bought for the.
Okay.
We had to replace one that was
Destroyed.
destroyed during the tornado. So,
You said it was leaking and there was equipment stored inside it that was getting wet. Right?
well, that's another one.
Oh.
That we've surplused that one, but we haven't replaced it yet. So we're going to probably get and then we also bought a flatbed trailer for the inflatable boat too. So that was another. I think that had a different name.
Wholesale
Factory outlet trailers. There you go. So, then the next one is fire auxiliary. That's just where the few supplies that were paid back to people that were in the auxiliary.
there's your name, Monks.
Yep, there was Roy. Yeah.
So what's the fire auxiliary all about?
That's just
I don't know anything about
it's
it.
kind of like spouses of people that are on the department, and they, if there's a fire, I will respond and take coolers of drinks, but these ladies will do the same, and so they
Cool.
kind of we'll all talk together and say, hey, we have coolers and drinks stationed at the different stations. Particularly when it's really hot, we try and keep those chilled all the time. But then we also have like rehab containers with, energy bars and simple snacks and Propel and Gatorade and things like that for electrolytes.
Good deal. All right.
Um,
That's new, right?
what's that?
That's new, right?
Well, I mean, the auxiliaries have been around a long time. I mean, since I've been trustee, I've always tried to, if there's a working fire, show up to, they call me the barista. Because when, if it's cold out, I bring hot drinks. If it's hot out, I bring cold drinks. So,
Okay.
again, I want to make sure our people are safe. And, when you're coming out of a burning building and it's 95 degrees, you need to be, I'll be
Hydrated.
at rehab and there's fans and, make sure that they're in good shape to go back in.
So
So,
what do we buy at Lawman? Tactical.
That was a donation, it looks like.
yeah, well, it was a
Paid
payment out of there.
donation.
So,
I paid it out of the donation. Yeah.
that's an unfortunate purchase. We had to buy Kevlar equipment for our firefighters. When I say that, it's to keep them safe, but it's a sad world that we are outfitting our firefighters
So
with
when they go out on a run, they've got a Kevlar.
Vest.
and a tactical helmet.
It's like a bulletproof
just
vest
like a
type
police officer, yeah. So it's a sad situation that we have to have a piece of equipment or equipment. I mean, it outfits for a full truck, but if we ever had to go into a active shooter situation or something like that, they've got equipment that they can protect themselves on. So again, sad world we live in. That's where we have to be.
So what was the striker cells?
They are defibrillators or medical equipment for the fire department. And so that was defibrillators. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought there.
For your heart or something to start that up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Again, the payroll withholding fund.
Do we have somebody who lives in Kentucky? We're paying Kentucky taxes.
We have 1, 2, 3.
We had the one guy that we had
Four.
some homes for.
No, 3 people that live in the state of Kentucky. 4 people, I'm sorry, live in the state of Kentucky.
Firefighters.
Yes. So they have their Kentucky state tax withheld, and then that's what it gets paid to that. So, park and recreation debt, the BOK Financial is the bonding company that we make our payment to. Park and Rec Construction just kind of lays out different contractors and different things that have been done for the building construction. And I'm on page 32. This gets into the local income tax. Again, this is firefighters. And Debbie, your question on the earlier page when it was under the fire fund,
Mhm.
part of their salary comes out of this bucket here. So this is where.
So how many buckets were there? 2 or 3?
There's 2.
2.
So then page 33, again, is just another summary screen, but it starts out with the township fund and starts to break out each of these subcategories that we had gone to. The page 34 just identifies our funds by the fund number, the type, and these are just kind of state numbers that are attached to each of those funds. So page 35 is the debt statement. It basically just shows that the what we're paying on our fire equipment debt and also on the park.
We have $5 million left on the park.
Yep.
At the end of the year, yes, yeah.
That's year 3, so we got 2 more.
We're into year 3 right now. So we've got when we make our payment here later this in June, we'll be at the halfway point.
Okay. Is that number pretty flat, that 1.8 million that comes out?
Yeah, it's the same area. It's the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's
change as the interest, but
So it basically, it's got the interest boiled into it, so that 5 million will be 5.4 by the time we're done. Yeah.
Yes.
5.4, 5.5, yeah. Okay.
The 36, we do not have any deficit balances in any of our funds. 37,
Which is a good thing, right?
That's a very good thing. We don't have any leases. 38, transfer ins or transfer outs. We didn't do any of those. 39 is our capital assets ledger. And basically, that details land, equipment,
Buildings.
buildings. And so we have a depreciation schedule and equipment that we purchase. Our capital assets threshold for the townships, anything above $2,000 appears on this capital assets ledger, but we keep track of everything. So from an insurance standpoint, so even if something costs less than 2,000, we just track it on a different sheet because it doesn't hit this report for the state. So. Page 40 is the accounts receivable. We don't have any accounts receivable. If we had a utility, maybe that might pertain to that. But page 41 is the beginning of the township assistance statistical report. And this just gives you some interesting information regarding the different things, the total number of requests, the total number of people. So that would be houses that reside under a house, different than a household. One thing, and I think when Ed was asking me some questions, but like on 2C where it tells the total number of denial, 104, we've never denied anybody assistance. But the way they started tracking this was that if somebody came to us and said, my rent is $800, we would put that in, but our guidelines say we're going to cover $435. The difference between those, they consider it a denial, but it's not. We paid $435. We just didn't pay the full $800. So I kind of take exception to that, and we're looking at, maybe changing the way that we report that, because to me that's not a fair number to say.
It can be misleading.
Yeah, it's very misleading.
So if you add up 3A and 3B, they asked for about $200,000 worth of assistance, and we gave 72,000. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that would be a good way to, yeah. And then it starts to break it down by utility assistance and housing assistance. So you can see we break down the above stuff kind of in a little more direct. Utilities would be, gas or electric, water and sewer. We do not do anything with internet or cable and things like that. On page 42, there it shows you how many, we had 13 funerals, burials, or cremations last year for $15,000.
That was the total for 13?
Most of what we had were cremations. It's interesting.
So what's it come down to?
So our guidelines state that we will pay up to $1,000 for a cremation and then up to $3,000 on a funeral.
Okay.
So that tells me we did one funeral there with 13. So and the rest were cremation. So the referrals. Again, this is something new that we've just been able to start tracking, and we're not doing a good number. But basically, if we've referred somebody to another assistance agency like St. Vincent de Paul, Salvation Army, the food pantry, we don't have the time to necessarily follow back up. A lot of bigger townships will have case investigators. And so what they will do is they'll follow back up and say, okay, I want to meet with you to see what did you end up getting in utility assistance from Salvation Army, TRICAP does our energy assistance, and then they record that in there as other benefits.
So you don't have to actually contact the person that you're referring them to.
No, it would be the individual.
Yeah, you just have to go through the individual.
We do, what I would call investigative work on our own, but there are townships that actually have investigators that go out and do home visits to make sure that what you say you are doing is actually like the number of people living in a household. Do you have that physical apartment? Part of our cross check is our landlords have to fill out a verification form for rental or mortgage assistance that says, yes, this person lives here, here's their lease, and the landlord has to sign it, and then we get an original copy of their lease. So we are kind of, double checking that that person in fact does live there so that there's not a fraudulent thing happening. But I know that we're probably not being told truthful
100% the
things
truth.
about how
Yeah.
many people are actually residing in the household, because if they're an adult residing in that household, then their income is factored into the overall picture of what we look at. It's not
Yep.
just the person requesting the assistance. So if there's two adults that are living there that we don't know about, there's additional income that could be counted
Paid
into
around.
that. So again, I don't feel like is that a expense that's worth us paying for to potentially, I don't feel like we're being frauded that much based on the number. Or,
It's a balance.
it's a balance,
Yeah.
bringing that staff person on to do that would to me be a net,
You pay another salary
to save.
spend $1 to chase a dime. Really what it comes
That
down
might
to.
be a great analogy. I was going to say save 10%, so that's right there. Spend $1, save a dime. So, but again, as our community grows, who knows where the next 20 years will take us on that. So, then that's page 43 is the end of the
There's your autograph.
for the statistical data. Page 44 outlines the two pensions that were in the public employees retirement are referred to as PERF, and then the police and firefighter pension fund. So that is the report.
So you had to have this review with us before March 1st, is that it?
I have to submit it in March 1st.
So you handed it to the DLGF,
Well, actually, I'm going to go into my office and upload it right after we get done.
so
That's
it'll be posted there
yes.
can
that's
people go
correct.
look at it there?
Yes, it becomes a public document then. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, does anybody have any questions
No.
on what we've gone over?
You're not.
Okay.
Nope.
I don't.
Good job.
So I
It was
just
an education.
it is very, and there's a lot of information in there. So, but just Madam President, you need a motion now.
All right. To have a motion to adjourn.
Nope.
I know.
Motion.
Debbie,
I'm ready for it.
I'm ready for
After
it
all,
too.
all those numbers.
I'm hungry, but don't do that. We need a motion to approve the.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the annual financial report?
I make a motion to approve it.
I will second.
Can we vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0.
All right.
This is on this one right here. Debbie has to sign here as president, but then this option is here. So, I mean, you can do this after the meeting if you want, unless I don't have anything else.
So we 3 signatures here.
No sign.
Adjourn and then sign.
I think we could sign after we adjourn. Is that what you want to do?
You're the president.
Mhm. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a
adjourn?
motion that we adjourn.
Oh, again.
So you
All
can
right.
sign that under
Do I have a second to adjourn?
I second that.
All right.
So,
Adjourn.
all in favor? Aye, aye, aye. So,
7:23.
doesn't matter where I sign on here.
He said
I just-
top.